Welcome to Africa Speaks of today. My name is Steve Mulindwa, and I do hope that as always, that you have a wonderful time, because never forget to do that. You never know when anything can happen and you lose that time. Right. Africa Speaks of today is a very, very important in a sense that I've got a gentleman here who represents one of the biggest kingdoms in East and Central Africa. That has been a major kingdom in the area for a very, very, very long time, as you hear. We go back to the same questions that we've been asking other representatives that have been here on the shows that we've had for the last 4 weeks or so. Do African tribes hold the key to African development? That is the question we are trying to answer again today. Do African tribes hold the key to African development? Remember that. Now, the Kingdom of Buganda is believed to have been founded by King Kabaka. A king is called Kabaka by then in Luganda, Katuchintu, around the 13th century, and was the most powerful state at the beginning of the 19th century in the East African region. The name Uganda came from the kingdom's name, and since independence in 1962, it has had a lot of influence on the leadership of the country. That is Uganda we're talking about, for many years, and it has advocated for a federal state in the country where each region has its own government. That's what they've been trying to do all the time, trying to ask the previous governments in the 60s that have been on if the federal state might be of help in making sure that the development of Uganda is in line with other countries, because they had foreseen this quite long time ago. Now, I've got with me a gentleman who is representing Kabaka's representative. That's the king of Buganda here in the UK. His name is Ssalongo Geoffrey Kibuuka. Welcome to the program.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah. Lots and lots of things that we've been discussing for a long time. But first, before we go into all that, I want to know something about yourself. How did you come to become the Kabaka's representative?
How did I come to become the Kabaka? Well, the Kabaka nominates.
Yeah, I know.
He chooses.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he chose me.
Yeah.
But there you go.
Yeah.
He decided in about May 2023.
Yeah.
I received a call to say I've been nominated to be the Kabaka's representative in the UK.
Yeah.
Prior to that, I was serving in the kingdom in various roles.
Here in the UK?
The UK, I go by clan.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I was the leader of the Bogo clan in the UK and Europe.
Yeah.
I also the chairman of the clan representatives in the UK. So that was my role before I was appointed Kabaka's representative. Yes.
Now, looking at the achievements or the roles that you play as far as the Buganda kingdom is concerned, one would start thinking, okay, we have an embassy here that takes care of Uganda, the whole country, and then you have smaller kingdoms. Okay, I don't call them small. There are kingdoms as well, Toro, Bunyoro, and the others. There is a question of the roles that you play in the various areas that you do. What are these roles? In other words,
yeah, we have an embassy and a high commissioner.
Yeah.
Who represents the whole country, Uganda, who is our head in this country. But before I explain, maybe I need to clarify a bit. Buganda, countries in Africa were different states of development when as time went on. Buganda was actually not a tribe, it was a nation. Because Buganda had, Buganda wasn't a tribe at that for a long time. Buganda had a parliament, Chico. Buganda had a prime minister, particularly Buganda had a chief justice. So
they even had their own money. They had money as well.
Buganda was structured. So when you come and say tribe, a tribe is a communal society with these structures show the level of development. And Buganda by then was fighting wars and winning wars and conquering other states. And it also was assimilating people into the nation. So not all Baganda were naturally born Baganda. Some just joined in or just came in. So it wasn't actually a tribe, but it's a nation.
Okay, okay.
So in terms of my role, we have an ambassador. The key role of the king's representative to take the interests of Uganda in this country. There are lots of Baganda in the Baganda and Ugandans in this country who are subservient to the king. Now, when we talk of people confuse things, people confuse Baganda with Buganda.
Yeah.
Baganda is the
tribe itself.
The nationality, the nation itself.
Okay, okay.
Okay, there's the Baganda and the Buganda.
Okay.
The Baganda are the people of the 52 clans.
Yeah.
Buganda are the people who live in
Buganda.
Buganda.
Okay.
So the people who may not necessarily be Baganda, but they are Kabakas, have
subjects.
Yes, they have interest of the Kabaka heart and the subjects. They hold, for example, titles of land in Uganda. Those will be, and they like Kabaka, and they're subservient to the king. So it's not only the Baganda, but all people who have interest in the king.
Okay, okay.
So those are the people I represent.
Okay, so even if somebody is not a Muganda, but as long as he's in Buganda,
I mean, giving you an example, when we have Kabaka's birthday run, we don't go and say, Baganda, come. It's everybody is invited to come and join in.
Yeah.
And when people come, I mean, in the parliament, for example, in the 60s, we had Dauda change. It was not in Buganda.
I remember that.
We have an Indian gentleman in the parliament of Buganda. He's not in Buganda. He doesn't have a clan, but he's a Kabaka subject. When we have the birthday run, everybody is welcome. You don't necessarily have in Buganda. Buganda was recently organizing or had the Masaza competitions.
Yeah.
You had the Kelos, Amos, Mugeshas, everybody's
welcome. They were all playing football.
Yeah, Masaza football. So they don't say which clan do you belong to. So you don't, as I said, there's a big difference between a nation and tribe. So when we come together as Buganda, it includes other people as well.
Well, the key positions why this question was being asked of with the tribes, the kingdoms and so on, are they Africa's future in terms of development? Because the reason why it's being asked is that the central government, the central governments, when the money comes, the money is taken, it's given somewhere, it's corruption, and there's a lot going on. But if this money is given to a particular area, I know you're not a politician and I don't want to draw your but the thing is as the question is, do African tribes hold the key to African development? Because as you're saying, the Baganda in the region of Buganda, even if you're not a Muganda, but as long as you're living in that region, you're subject of the king. And if you're subject of the king, then as far as development is concerned, it takes you in. If the king gets money and elected sort of gives powers to all the subjects, anybody within his subjects, it's more on a developmental level. As you used to have the Bulungi Bwansi in Uganda and so on. Anybody can participate in that, which means if the money comes in and it goes straight to the kingdom of Buganda, they are more likely to develop if the money is given directly to the king rather than given directly to the government.
You see, without pondering too much on politics, if you look at some of the successful countries, if you look at United States of America, when you look at, for example, Nigeria, when you look in Africa, when you look at even this country, we tend to have a sort of federal system of government. If you look at the mayor, the central government may collect taxes, but the transport, the underground, the roads are managed by the mayor. And even beyond the mayor, the councils levy taxes.
The structure is there already.
So it's like a federal sort of government. The people manage their own affairs. If you look in America, the United States, you have a federal government. You have each state, some of them levy taxes. So that's why Buganda advocates for a federal state of government, not particularly for Buganda only, but people who live within that area to determine their affairs. And they will be more developmental. For example, if you took somebody born in Buganda and made him a chief or a leader in a Choli or Lango or even some other place, sometimes it's difficult to know the problems being faced in that area.
Okay.
An indigenous person from that area would be more knowledgeable about the issues facing that area. That's why Buganda advocates for a federal state of government.
But
now,
why is it that the governments, not just Buganda alone, in Congo, in Tanzania, in other parts of the world, because I've been discussing this for a while, the decentralization of power is a threat to the nation, to most leaders who are leading the countries. Why?
Again, without going so much into politics, decentralization is being tried with centralization. What I mean by that, when you have a district commissioner, he answers to an MP. The reason, because the resources are not well managed. When the RC system was first tried in Uganda, for instance, it was very effective because people determined their own affairs.
Exactly.
That sort of federalism. So they have control. When you centralize, there's abuse of resources, money, the corruption, and sometimes even if the leader went corrupt or didn't intend to do something, you end up having resources being diverted from where it should be. I'll give you an example. Somebody may not be particularly corrupt. If I said somebody came here and stole a mug, a cup of tea, a cup, a basin, and maybe, let's say, a chair. And they say you line up 30 people. By the time you get the 30th person, the 30th person says somebody came in and robbed the things, or would say something happened. Because the communication, the message gets lost.
Within the translation as you go along.
So the same is, when you centralize, the feedback from the people doesn't get through. So when the chief, somebody comes in and is conveying information from the people, by the time it gets to the top,
it has already been diluted.
And when the head communicates, comes back, again it gets diluted. So the federal system changes that. The person who leads is on the ground, so he will make sure the information goes or reaches the people it's supposed to reach.
Now, the Baganda, I know you've clarified that, the people who live within the Buganda kingdom, in the diaspora, you've dealt with them as a king's representative. Do you find them forthcoming in terms of whatever is wanted in terms of achieving what we want to achieve here, or even in Buganda itself?
The key goal, what we aim for, Buganda has 5 goals. One of protecting our land, the other is unity, the other one is, there are 5 of them, but I'll come back to you as you ask. Our goal here is unity and development, prosperity and development through unity. Now, do I find people
forthcoming?
Yes, of course.
They do.
They do, very forthcoming. The only issue we have is the levels of communication. We haven't been, maybe it hasn't been communicated enough, but yes, people are forthcoming. And you can see that the message is going through, is getting through, and people are working towards development because those are the goals. You can't succeed without being united.
Of course.
And development is a personal thing that will benefit you individually and the community.
What are the difficulties then? Because I mean, being in Uganda, I hear this most of the time. Whenever you invent, so-and-so has done this, you hear these wrangles within sometimes. I know that the Baganda have a saying that whatever happens inside the house, whether your brothers, Uganda, so I know those things are there, but internal wrangles about this and that, they're not only here, they're in Buganda as well.
Sometimes so people in newspapers and writers exaggerate things. Of course you'll have a disagreement, but people will spin. For example, if we came and debated something and I was on your opposite, they will say it's an argument. But it could be a discussion.
It could be,
So there's always oh, this is happening, this is that. I'm not disputing the fact that there may be challenges somewhere along the way, but I think they exaggerated.
Yeah.
If you look at what Uganda is achieving, whether here or in the UK, or in Uganda, how could they achieve it if they are constant in wrangles? If you look at Uganda, taking the Masaza Cup, how many people attended? If you look at the Kabakas that they run, if they were real divisions, it's the third biggest in the world and the fourth biggest
in the run. Now,
so how could you say that people are always wrangling?
No, I'm not saying they're always, but I'm saying they're there. They're existing because I hear them every now and then. You hear so and so, you hear this, you hear this. They're existing anyway. Although they're part of the whole system.
Development comes through conflict sometimes. That there will always be debates. For example, if we were to live here, this is Wathamstow. If you wanted to go to central London, somebody may say, one person may say, let's take a train, the other, let's go by bike, let's take Uber. This is the same thing. We all have the same goal and may have different ways of
achieving it.
So now, when we debate them, sometimes people call it wrangling.
Are there any difficulties at all in your job as the Kabaka's representative?
No, they're just challenges.
They're challenges. They're not difficulties.
No, I don't see them. They're challenges. For example, we don't have a lot of money. That's a fact of life. Even in Uganda, Kabaka doesn't collect money, but he does a lot of things. And the government of Uganda doesn't collect any taxes. People just donate. If they're collecting taxes, they will be doing far much more better. But even without taxes, a lot is being done in schools, in education, in health, environment. So it's the challenge, obviously. So the key one of this is finances. So we don't have here and in Uganda the finances to do things that should be done. But maybe you've had a well face, so people collect money.
They do.
And that money has gone a long way. And Uganda probably is one of the most accountable system in Uganda, because they account for everything every year. They say we spend this, and then they give you accountability at the end of every year.
I know you're not a politician, but this question has always come in. And I asked the lady Daisy from Bunyoro, the Bunyoro representative, and also the Bugisu gentleman who was here representing Omukuka of Bugisu. The same question came. It's still the same thing. They also have challenges, as you say. But then at the same time, there is that element of the central government, the relationship between the central government of Uganda and the Buganda, and I think in the whole of the kingdoms that are there, the Buganda kingdom is the one with the biggest problem with the central government. Even the president Museveni himself apologized, by the way, to the Buganda, and they said, look, we made a lot of mistakes, we did a lot of that. When you look at the relationship between the two, it started very well. It went up, then it went down, then it went in the middle, and it went in. How is it now, as we stand right now, before we go to the elections?
Buganda, as a kingdom, has to abide by the laws of the country.
Of course.
Where it resides.
As per constitution,
That's a fact of life. You cannot change that. When we come here, we have to abide by the laws of this country.
Of course.
So is Buganda. So Buganda will never break any laws or think it has to. It legally exists. Now, if there are issues, for example, with relation to corruption, relation to delivery of services, in relation to abuse of power, Buganda, like any other individual, because Buganda is a collection of individuals, Buganda, like any other interest group, will point these out.
To the government,
Of course, it's not that there's a sour relationship, but it's say, look, this is your obligation, you should be doing it, you're not doing what you're supposed to do. So the relationship, okay, but Buganda is not shied away from pointing out things that are wrong,
that are going wrong,
the government is obliged to do. Beyond that, it doesn't do anything more than that, because that is the obligation, because Uganda has an interest in Uganda. It's so part and parcel of Uganda, And Buganda has north upwards of 11 million people out of 40.
Yeah.
When you take to the Buganda, like I defined it before, this is a substantial group, probably the biggest group in Uganda. So they have to have an interest. They have to raise, Buganda has to raise issues that it feels are being ignored. That doesn't make them politicians. Neither does it make the people who raise these issues politicians.
Well, you defined it so well. It's just that it's not something that's not going to go away. It's not something that's going to go away. You can define it the way it is, and the politicians will come in and say, but the difficulties we don't have, because when I had a politician here, he was saying we don't have a problem with the Bagisu, for example. We don't have a problem with Banyolo, but we have a problem with the Baganda. And then it comes on and says, okay, but as you've defined it, anybody in Buganda can be defined as a Muganda. So if he has someone in Buganda has a
no, it's not defined as it's defined as king subject.
The king subject.
It could be because when the Buganda started, like I said, people came in and they were integrated. It's like you may be holding a British passport. You're British. You may not have been born here. Maybe you weren't. So it's Buganda. It welcomes everyone. And when we talk about Buganda, we talk all people who are subservient, who support Buganda. It's not only saying that, you are no, or you are. I'll give you an example of Masaza Cup. Everyone is welcome.
I agree. The thing is when I spoke to the Mukuka's representative, he was saying that as by the constitution of Uganda, there were certain elements within the constitution, obviously, that the Kabaka and all his subjects are meant to be to abide by. And then at the same time, there are certain issues within which are not in the constitution, for example, but they're existing. I mean, the Masaza Cup you've mentioned and so on. When you look at the football calendars of the country as such, the country doesn't have the football calendar. In fact, at some point, they were not involved. The Vikabia Uganda games and so on. The rest of the central government said we're not part of that. You see, so there are certain things that you look at and said, okay, they take part in Buganda. I mean, we have the Milo land issue, which was so big at the time, long time ago, which is only in Buganda. It's not anywhere else. So these are some of the issues. When I look at them, okay, you are calling them challenges, but at the end of the day, the Bagisu, the Bateso, and others, they don't have the similar challenges like in Buganda, and that is why the question mark is always going to be there.
Well, Buganda is central located. That's one of
okay. I agree with that.
That could be because the government, everything, most of the key institutions may be located central in Buganda. That may be puts extra
pressure
on Buganda. But look, as I started talking about federal and the federal government, if you leave kids home or if you leave people, start with the family. You're not going to administrate on everything. Some roles are left for other people to deal with. So if Baganda enjoy having Masaza Cup, so what? I'll give you an example. To that should be okay. That's Kabaka's project where the
health project.
The health project. They collect blood. They're building dispensaries. The government should be over the moon.
Because they're helping the government.
That's their role. And the government is doing it. Why would somebody get upset about that? I mean, I would say, wow, let's give Buganda even more. Do this. So in some cases, like I said, when there is projects going on, sometimes people enjoy to say, oh, this is happening. But even some of these projects, the government is aware and supports them because it helps them. Buganda is trying to educate children. Buganda is putting emphasis on the environment. Those are projects the government should be doing. So the government should be happy with it. And I think they are. Because if they weren't, they would say, don't do it. But why would they say that?
No. With too much pressure, they wouldn't do that. Now, the population of Buganda, like the population of Uganda, is almost 70% under 20 years old. And it is unemployment is at its peak now, not just in Uganda, by the way, but in the whole of East Africa. That is why the Jazzy generation is coming up. And I keep wondering whether the Kabaka has any plans for the employment structure, and even here itself, whether we have some kind of way in which we might be of help to help as far as the population of Buganda is concerned.
Maybe I'll start with Buganda.
Yeah.
The Kabaka says, "Umulembe guno gwabavubuka."
Yeah.
That has a lot of meaning in it.
Yeah, in itself, yeah.
Yes. It's for the youth. So if you look at the projects, for example, they're increasing the number of nursery schools in Buganda.
Okay.
They are, in the latest budget, they are developing a technology center where the youth will be trained how to use AI, computers to develop themselves, to start teaching them to start businesses. We had a lot of youth coming from the villages to go to cities to drive border. Now that is being discouraged. The king himself said, Kabaka said, please do not sell your land.
Yeah.
Don't sell land, go back and grow coffee. Growing coffee is a major project that was initiated, has been supported massively by Buganda. So the youth are going back to start a project. Maybe you have heard about it. It's called Mwanyitelimba.
Yeah, Mwanyitelimba.
A lot of people have got rich, mainly the youth and even other people. So these are some of the projects the Kabaka's government is doing. When we come here in the UK, we have a lot of challenges. Again, the government here, you'd say this is a developed country, but we have a lot of knife crime, as you're aware, in the youth. We have already have issues of drug abuse in the youth. We have issues of employment in the youth. But we are working on that too on the sides. For example, if you look at Dabe Radio, part of every weekend, or every week, there are about 3 programs where people come and discuss how to help the youth. Mukungu Chinji is responsible for that every week, to teach youth to see how they can get out of crime, how they can go into gainful employment. We had a seminar last year attended by over 80, 90 youth, where we had people who went to gainful employment, who went into professions, army, doctor, accountants, lawyers, business people, where they came and addressed the youth and told them how they got into business or how they got into their professions.
How do you get the funding to get this seminar, this whole thing sorted out?
Buganda UK is a charity.
Oh, Buganda UK is a charity.
Yeah, but the funding has not been forthcoming. So most of our funding comes from the people themselves. That's why instead of, for example, we're imaginative. Instead of calling a conference and say, we're going to give you tea, we're going to give you the hall, we do it on Zoom.
Yeah, okay.
So you have your own tea in your room, you sit in your house and join.
Okay.
Yes. That where we do conferences in person, then we ask the attendees to contribute because we don't have funding.
Now, is there a diaspora office at Mengo?
Yes, there is. We have a full minister, not even a diaspora office.
Oh, okay, a full minister.
Full minister, yes.
Okay.
A full minister, of foreign affairs, Wachiti Wakawuchi.
Okay.
And was here last year, and we're in constant communication with them. It's a full office. Oh. Remember, there are 18 counties in Uganda.
Yeah.
Now there are also 18 outside Uganda.
There are 18 outside Uganda?
Yes.
Yeah.
So that tells you how big diaspora is. And we have lots of people in the US, in Dubai, in Rhineland, Sweden, Middle East, South Africa. So they're opening up everywhere.
Okay. Yes. The king's Nabagirika's Chisakati and the women's achievers, and has not been moved into the diaspora. It has moved mainly in Buganda, but it's not in the diaspora.
It is.
Maybe I've made a mistake with that. I don't know, because I've never heard of it.
I think you have. Because before, there have been at least 3 Sakatis in this country.
Okay.
One was held in Manchester, I think 2 in South London, and on both occasions, except one, the Nabagalika was here.
Okay.
And I know one is being prepared. There's preparations underway to have one next year.
Okay.
And Sakat is full charity. Sakat Nabagalika is a charity registered in the UK.
Okay, it is, yeah?
Yeah. So we really do have Sakat.
Again, it's all a question of sometimes maybe we are not informed, or yes, maybe we are informed and then we forget that we are informed or something. I don't know, because it's all a question of knowledge is power, and get to as many. Have you got a kind of a media circle within your office which can spread most of this information? That's
one of the challenges we've had, because we don't have a lot of resources in terms of communication, but we've also been blessed with the new types of communication, the social media. So we have a website, bugandauk.com. We have Twitter. We have Facebook, and all those. So we also have specific WhatsApp groups. Okay. That's the way we communicate. We also present, we have a special program, specific programs every Thursday on Radio Derby. We also use, like we used to use Radio Connect. That's our main way of communication. But yes, we could do for much more, because some of the information we want to put out is not going out as fast
as it should be,
as clear as it should be.
How about a united front of, because what I could see here, with one area having a bigger share of the diaspora and having a bigger share of what you're getting as the Kingdom of Buganda. The question in mind is there a relationship in terms of cooperation of working together with Bunyoro, for example, or with the Bagisu, for example? I've seen this in Ghana, and I've seen this in Nigeria. They have the people who come from various areas from different tribes, but there is that joint cooperation, because if you have the joint cooperation, you're more likely to go and say, look, we're 6 charities here, this. Is there a possibility of giving us maybe £500,000 for us to share, or something like that? Because children in need, they were talking about that, instead of going for specific charities, to go to a number of charities jointly and see how those charities can share into that lion's share of the money that's given out. I don't know whether that idea has ever come across.
Yes, we have. Actually, we do. Gerard Nyakana and Daisy from Bunyoro.
Yeah.
We sit on that committee we call us, it's called Community Elders. We have Drake Mugisa from Toro. We have Materesi from Bugisu.
Yeah, Materesi,
yeah. We have from Bugisu. We have Mark from Acholi, a Luo community. We have a gentleman from the Langi community. And we have this one more person. So yes, we do, and we meet regularly. And we had, for example, we had a Buganda function in Manchester last weekend.
Yeah.
And those people all were invited, because the Ugandans, they were also community leaders, and they were there. The Luo community actually under Mark having an event in December, and we've been invited. And we'll be there to support them. The Daisy Bunyoro, Daisy and Gerard Nyakana had an event in the summer. We were invited, and we were represented. So yes, we have this unit of purpose.
Yeah. Does it transfer to, for example, into asking and say, look, if we sit together and then maybe get the funds together, because it's something which might not just promote individual communities, but might also help the entire country.
I think eventually it will. For example, when we talk of the youth, when we talk of, we have the same issues. It's like you see the clan system.
Yeah.
I come from Bogo clan, you may be coming from Mungabi clan, we have somebody from Nkalebu, other clans. Yes, we identify as clans, but ultimately we are all Baganda.
Of course,
And even here, ultimately we are all Ugandans. This is just, we call identifiers hotels. So we have the same interest. Remember, we are intermarried even.
Of course,
so you can't, that's why we have this meeting, that's why we sit together and we work together for our common interests and common goals.
I know, but it has never been transferred into...
Well, watch the space.
Yeah. I'm just trying to find out whether...
Watch the space.
Whether the money has already come across and then it's split up and, you know... It's an African problem. I'm sorry, I'm laughing about it.
No.
But it's by the time we get to know that there was £1 million given by the word to the charity, you know, and we are looking for whoever was responsible, and the people have disappeared.
No. We have specific responsibilities and obligations.
Okay.
The leadership, the way the leadership is chosen may vary. For example, I'm speaking to you now, but I was appointed by the Kabaka.
Yeah.
And the Kabaka tomorrow may say, no, I'm choosing
someone else.
That's how it is in Uganda. For other communities, maybe they elect, or maybe there's a paramount chief who appoints. That's where they differ. We differ. But for us, for Uganda, our reality is to the king, and the chooses will become. So that's the primary difference in the way we come into these roles.
Into roles of leadership.
Now, one of the key issues we have, before we get the money, sometimes it's better to identify the goal.
Where the money will be used.
Because you don't just go and collect money and say, okay, now we've got the money, let's look to do with it. That's the wrong way of doing things. We first identify a project, and then we see what we need and go out and source it. I mean, Uganda, as I said, is very, very accountable. We have to account for every penny we get, even monies that is donated from individuals. If you look at Olwaro, which is contributed by individuals, every year the Katikkiro and the government of Uganda explains to the penny how much came from his county, including UK, and how it was spent. In UK we have Kabaka's birthday, and we have dinners. You'll see on the website, on the magazine, how much was collected and how was spent to the penny. So we're very, very accountable. We have to account for every penny we get. Every penny we get, whether it's a donation or a collection. It so happens. I don't know whether you've heard of Buganda Bereavement Fund.
Yeah, I've heard of that,
mean, we collect money, we have in excess.
The church was talking about it, I remember.
And again, we account for it to the penny. And even we to the point of calling in the membership of the general meeting and say, look, this is the money we got, this is what we collected, this we've given the people of past. So we are very, very accountable. And it's important to be accountable, because if you're not, people will not trust you with the funds. Remember, Buganda is voluntary. You can either join or you can... Yes.
It's really up to you. It's really up to you. Now, the role of women within the organization. I know we've talked about Nabagirika's Chisakati, but in leadership roles of women, I've seen this not just not in Uganda, obviously, but in other communities where women are not restricted as such, but they are put into positions whereby it's such that there's a lot of male domination, as it is in Africa itself. Most of the roles in Africa have always been dominated by men in terms of who is the leader here, who is the leader here. Do you see that changing as we go along, especially beginning with Buganda?
No, Buganda has no problem with women. In Buganda we have, if I tell you the hierarchy of Buganda, for example, the king rules with the Nalinya. That's a very, very powerful title in Buganda. Nalinya is a court when the king is being crowned. That's the person seated here. The king's mother is a very important person as well.
In Buganda.
In Buganda, we have the Nabagereka, extremely important, as you know. So we have now.
No, I'm looking at the diaspora now here, where you are in your administration, for example.
In my administration, for example, I have 5 deputies. 2 of them are women, we have UK is divided into five. They call Mabendo Bendos.
Bendo.
Yeah, two of those are ladies, and then all the ladies, all the Mabendo Bendo leaders or the deputies have committees. I mean, more. I think 50% or more are women. On the Bakungu, there's I think 50% women.
Okay.
We have a specific department, Women and Children Affairs, led by women. They organize an event every year on the International Women's Day. Member and I think our biggest members or people who actively, for Uganda you don't have to be a member, you're born. People who participate actively in Buganda events and issues are predominantly women.
Yeah.
So they have a key role.
Okay.
Yes.
It's the top post which is always the one that we're looking at and said, okay, do you see your replacement tomorrow as a woman if the king does that selection?
I don't. All I can say is we have Masadas in Uganda which are led by women.
Yeah, yeah.
Cargo, I think, is a woman, one of the biggest or the most important. That's a lady, I think. It's a Cargo, I think. So yeah, the Kabaka chooses based on, I think, ability or somebody who is able to lead people. Based on, I think, I don't see any reason why I wouldn't choose a woman. I mean, for example, the leader or Kabaka's representative in Canada is a woman.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, yeah, and in America there are a lot of deputies. There are a number of deputies who are women. So. No, it's not an issue at all.
Okay, we're coming towards the end of the program. How do you see the future then? Not just the future of the
very, very bright.
Yeah, of
very bright, because
the diaspora here in the UK and
first in Uganda,
yeah,
I think is very bright for what is happening in the kingdom and the development issues coming along. I think it's very, very bright. Here also I see a very bright future, because once there's been some misunderstanding that when you talk about Uganda, it's just tradition or last funeral rites or no, Uganda is about development and unity. And Uganda is not for Uganda only, for everyone who is interested in development, unity. As you can see the projects we have, I've told you about bereavement project. That's it's a lot of non-Baganda on there. But
yeah, but the thing is that the reason is because it's not being sold that way. It's the way it's sold, the way you're selling it, telling me now that it's not just the Baganda, it's the people who are within and so on. Those outside Buganda look at it from a different way, because it's not sold like that to them. Otherwise, I'm being asked these questions all the time. Say, Baganda. No.
Let me give you a question. Let me say, have you ever heard of Scottish widows?
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm just asking a question. Scottish widows. Is an insurance group.
But it's
but are they all members Scottish?
Of course not.
Are they all widows?
Of course not.
Have they changed their name?
Of course not.
So there's no point of having this thing of Buganda. It could be Buganda and running everybody. We're not going to change the name because our leader, the king, we identify him. He's initiator of these projects.
Okay.
So we will always be Buganda. But welcoming everybody.
Ssalongo, I'm so happy to have had you on our show, and we'll be together again next week for maybe another time for another discussion on the Buganda Kingdom.
Thank you.
I just want to say thank you very much for viewing us, and I hope we'll be together again next week for another edition of Africa Speaks. Thank you for viewing us, and may God bless you all.
Thank you.
May God bless you.